What's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to share with you 7 brutal lessons that I've learned from going on over 200 dates. And a lot of these lessons, they are going to be very controversial. It's going to spark a lot of debate because a lot of those lessons, they're going to sound very unromantic. So let's jump right into it. So that brings us to the first one, which is that your dating life will suck if you do not have good logistics. And this is something that very few people online talk about in the dating space because it's not sexy. It's far sexier to say, oh, say this to the girl and then you will get her. You will get far less clicks the moment that you start talking about something as unromantic as logistics. But a lot of guys, they shoot themselves in the foot with the logistics before they even go out dating or even start talking with women. Because often what happens if you invite a girl out to a particular location and the location is not convenient for her, then she will just say, well, that's too far from me, like I do not feel comfortable like going there, you name it. That's why I say also in my content, it's better that you live in a even in a shoebox, like as they say in these big cities nowadays, you pay like crazy amounts of rent. It's better that you live in a tiny one bedroom apartment or even just one room in a location that is very good, like downtown somewhere, than that you have a mansion in the suburbs. Because the mansion is going to get far less dates, it's going to get far more flakes, and it's going to get far more women thinking, well, that's a little bit too far for me, it's not convenient, I do not feel comfortable going there. And that's why I recommend guys always to get a place somewhere in a location where it's very easy to run dates and where it's also very easy for you to ideally walk home to your place if the vibe is right with the girl, so that you can take her home basically. Because if you do not set yourself up for success with the logistics, then it's going to be very hard for you to lead those dates that you're having to to the bedroom. And ultimately it's also important for you to understand that sex is always your fault. It should always be on you, and you need to plan for it. If you're not planning for it, it's not going to happen. Women are not going to do the job for you. But this is very unromantic also because often you might go on dates, the vibe might be super good, but if your logistics are not good, then your dates, they will just not lead anywhere. They will not lead to the bedroom, and then it will be held against you. It will be your fault. She will ghost you and she will backwards rationalize why it didn't happen. She will think, well, maybe we're not looking for the same thing. Yeah, maybe it's just not meant to be between us. And that's basically because you didn't pull the trigger. You were not able to take her home because you made a mistake somewhere. And I can tell you honestly, from my experience, I'm so obsessed with this that even when I was not getting laid, I would still live in locations where taking the girl home would have been very easy for me, because I just hated the idea that I would be going on dates and that I would have no opportunity to close basically. But so many guys, they just when they move somewhere, they will just think, well, it's about the nice apartment and how nice it looks and like the price of the rent. None of that is important. If you want to have a great dating life, location is pretty much everything. So that's it for the first point. Now let's go over to the second point, which is that dating single moms is cool and it's enjoyable. Because there's this myth going around on the internet, especially in these red pill spaces, that dating single moms is very bad and it's going to be a nightmare of an experience for you, blah blah blah. And I used to believe this for a very long time. That's why, for example, when I was on dating apps, I would always set my age filter basically to women in their 20s. But I ran an experiment myself, because I wanted to see, okay, what is going to happen the moment that I start dating women in their 30s, even women that have kids. And I found out that none of this narrative is true. Actually, it's very enjoyable to date women that are single moms. It could even have many pros in many cases. Because if she already has kids, then she's not going to knock on your door and say to you, I want to have kids with you like as soon as possible. So that could be an advantage for you. There's no biological clock ticking anymore. Especially often if these women, they just came out of a marriage, then they also might not necessarily look for something serious like right off the gate. And that could be an advantage for you, because if you're if you're also not looking for something casual, for something serious, just like in my case, well, then you can just have fun with her for a pretty long time without ever having that biological clock ticking, basically. Now, I agree partially with this Red Bull idea that it might not be an ideal choice for you to date single moms. If she's really pushing for you to become a stepdad and for you to take care of her kids, and I can understand that that's not something that you might want to do, especially if you do not have your own kids yourself yet. But that's often the problem, because these men, they will date these single moms and then eventually they end up taking care of the kids, and you do not have to do that. There's no one that's putting a gun to your head and say like, you need to take care of her kids, or you're obliged like to take care of someone else's offspring and to become a cock, as these Red Bull guys like to say. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can just enjoy spending time with her, have fun, date and sleep with her, and just make it an enjoyable experience. So that's basically it for this point. You do not have to believe this narrative. You do not even have to believe my word for it. Yeah, you can just go out and just experience it yourself. Yeah, I tested this theory myself, and I found that actually, like dating single moms can be very enjoyable for you if you play your cards right, and if you make sure that you're not going to take responsibility for things that you didn't cause, i.e., her kids potentially. So that brings us to the third point, which is that you can be an ethical player. And that's very controversial, because there's this misconception out there that being a player always directly means that you are unethical and that you're lying and deceiving and stabbing people in their backs and that sort of stuff. And that doesn't have to be that case. Well, a lot of guys that want to live a player lifestyle, they end up doing that, but you don't have to. You can be 100% transparent. You can be very honest and still sleep around with many women. And you will find also that many women, they will happily accept it. They will happily go along with it if you are honest about it. Personally, I never wanted to deceive anyone because I don't like drama. Because often what happens, drama is caused by the guy just not being honest and giving the woman the wrong expectations. And I never wanted to do that because I absolutely despise drama. So what do? I am honest, I'm upfront, and I'm never lying about, you're the only one I'm seeing and I want a relationship. There are some girls that I dated in the past, and they told me, I've been in that situation where there was a guy that claims that he was looking for something serious, and then I started to get feelings for him, and I asked him for a relationship, but then he started to crawl back. Oh no, I actually don't want to have that. And then drama started to come, and she will also never respect you anymore after that. Yeah, and then women, they will become malicious, and they are 100% right, because you were deceiving her. Yeah, that's never something that I wanted to do, because always when I saw, okay, this girl, she is perhaps looking for something serious, or she's starting to catch feelings, that I am very direct about it. Like, hey, that's not something that I look for, but I like to keep seeing you and have fun and that sort of thing. But if I notice that's not possible for her, or she is looking for something totally different than I am, then it's often just best to cut it off. And that's gonna cost you. Yeah, that's going to cost you. That's going to cost you the sex. But that's going to be better in the long run, because you're saving yourself on the drama. Because she cannot come back later to you if you've been all upfront about it, and start to make drama about something that she knew. So that's why I am totally fine getting laid less, if that's in the long run means having less drama and not hurting people's feelings. And that's the way for you to also be an ethical player. Also, what you can do is or what you end up doing ultimately in the end anyway, is that you will end up dating women that are also looking for something casual anyway. So that's it for the third point, and it will bring us to the fourth one, which is that strategy is everything in dating. Because the reason that I say that is that for women, they can have sex and they can land in the bedroom with an attractive guy without having to do anything. For them, it's just like, oh my God, like it just happens. And that idea, people have extrapolated that to our entire culture. Like, yeah, sex, it just happens. Relationships, and you just fall in love, that sort of thing. No, you don't. All of it, you need to plan for it as a guy. That's your responsibility to lead it to the bedroom. And if you're not doing it, then she is going to hold it against you. She's going to end up ghosting you. She's going to blame you for it. And you will be left with a painful experience that potentially could have been become a relationship, become a girlfriend. But that's why it's very important that you have your strategy dialed in. Yeah, that you have a proper first date strategy. One of the biggest parts of that is that you do your dates near your place. But it's very important that you strategize for everything at every single step. Because otherwise, what will happen is that you will wing it, you will just bet on luck, and you will become part of the 90% of guys that will sleep with 3-4 women in their entire lifetimes. Why do men sleep with so few women in their entire lifetimes? It's because they are winging it and they're going about it just like amateurs. So that's it for the fourth point. So that brings us to the fifth point, which is that no obstacle is too much for a woman that has high interest. And this is very important for guys to understand. Most men, they will never experience this in their lives because they will deal with women that have low to kind of like medium interest. And most men, they will just jump through hoops in order to score a date with a woman. Not knowing that very often jumping through hoops, it will ruin her attraction. It will make her just see you as a guy that has nothing going on in his life. And you will get shitty dating experiences. Your shittiest dating experiences, they will always come from you jumping through hoops and you dating on her terms. And that's also where these demands like, let's do dinner instead, or let's meet somewhere else, or come pick me up. All of these demands, they come from these conditions. They come from her just not being super excited about you. And the moment that I stopped dating these women, my dating experiences, they started to become way better. Because if she is very interested in you, then no obstacle is going to be is going to be too much for her. She's going to happily travel a few minutes more in order for her to see you. She will also not care where you're going to meet her, whether it's going to be a super fancy restaurant or it's going to be just grabbing a coffee with her. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't date women with low to medium interest at all, because you can, and that can also be fun. I've also slept with women that were not even that excited about me in the beginning, but you should never take those women seriously long term, because you're making things way more difficult than it has to be. Because if you're going to date someone that is just lukewarm for you, she's going to put up more conditions as time goes by. Whereas if you just date someone with high levels of interest, that really sees you as a 10 out of 10, then she's going to make everything easy for you. And that's why you want to be conscious of the whole dynamic and see how far she is ready to go to see you. Because if she tells you, oh, that's a 30-minute drive, like I don't want to do it, can you come to my place instead, then that tells you everything about how she sees you, how she perceives you, how serious she is about you. So that's basically it, guys. Like, it's very important that you become that guy that gets very high desire, very high attraction from women, because otherwise you're never going to get the best behavior from them. And then you end up like a lot of those guys online that will just complain that women are always making drama with them, and that's dating is so difficult and that's a pain in the ass. It's because you're just not getting high attraction and high desire from these women. Now, there's many ways that you can elicit that. Yeah, that's what we talk about here on this channel. But then you first need to take responsibility and make sure that you make the right changes. So that brings us to the sixth point, which is that your dating life will suck if you do not have good photos on your dating apps and social media. And this is something that no one out there will tell you for the same reason as the first point that I mentioned. Because this is not sexy to talk about. It's far sexier to talk about what to say to the girl, because that gets way more clicks, it gets way more engagement, and it gives guys the illusion that if they just say the right thing, then their crush will fall in love with them. But it doesn't work like that, because if your photos are not good online, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Women will just ignore you just because you have shitty photos, no matter how cheesy your pickup lines are. Good photos nowadays, they are your foundation. And even if you're approaching women in real life or you're meeting women at events, you will still need to have really good photos because you'll still end up talking with her over Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever messaging platform that you might use. You need good photos. If you do not have it, then she's going to second guess. Whoa, is this guy actually someone that I want to go out with? And I've seen this over the years myself as well. Like, the better your photos, the higher your responses, the more women will become interested in you, the more they will reach out to you. Even they will start to text you and ask like, hey, when are we meeting? You will get less flakes. And it's all because you have dialed in your presentation properly. And very often I will see guys in my comments that will leave hate comments and that will criticize me, or some guys, they will brag about the women that they slept with. And I look at their profile photos and I see just a blurry photo or a guy in a really weird environment. And then I can see, dude, you're not getting laid, okay? Yeah, I know that is the case. And you can blab all you want about things that you know and the theories about getting women. But if your photos are not good online, then I'm not going to take you seriously. As soon as you have good photos, then we can talk. You need to take really good photos in good locations, rooftop bars, downtown areas, trendy locations. That's where you also wear a very good outfit. Yeah, where your style is on point, we have good poses, facial expressions, all of these things, you need to bring them together in one good photo. You need to show confidence and lifestyle. And you need to do that before you even start considering like sending any DMs or messaging that cute girl that you know from this event that you that you went to, or this girl that you met in the grocery store and you cold approached her, whatever the case it may be. So that's it for the 6th point. So let's go over to the 7th one, which is that theories in dating are never worth the paper that it's written on. And this is going to be very controversial because there's so much information out there, and everyone sells you the idea that if you just use this one piece of information, then you can finally get the results that you want in your dating life. And that's not how things work, because ultimately nothing replaces actually going on dates and getting the experience yourself. But most guys, they will just endlessly watch content. They will feel like they are improving. They will argue with other guys online, even argue with coaches. Or, like your advice is not good. They will intellectualize. They will start philosophical debates, discuss theories, and all of that before even going on many dates. Well, then all of that theory, all of that information is just totally useless. You need to be an action taker, and only after that, getting more information and absorbing more information is going to be very useful for you. But that's not the vast majority of guys out there. And that's why many guys, they stay stuck in their dating lives forever. I've been there myself, where I was watching videos, hours and hours, consuming content, and without actually taking action and actually going on dates. But the reason that guys, they cling on to this is because consuming this information and sitting there in your bedroom, like watching content, is way easier than starting conversations, like to going out and approaching women, and to improve your presence online and actually taking action. And that's also how you get guys that will tell you that in theory, they know what they need to do. In theory, they know what it requires in order for them to get dating results, but they are not executing on anything. And this creates a problem, because then these guys, they become theory junkies. Yeah, and I've noticed that myself. Yeah, by going on so many dates, you will only be able to test your theories and see what is true or not after you are going on many, many dates. And that's why I also told you guys about the 2nd point of dating single moms, because I ran the experiment myself after I listened to all of the theories about how horrible it is to date a single mom. And I found that my experience personally is contradicting what most guys out there are blabbing on the internet. So that's it, gentlemen. So those are 7 brutal truths from going on over 200 dates. So if you hear this and you realize that you've been stuck in your dating life for many years and that you're looking to change it, then feel free to book a call with me with the link in the bio. And then we could talk about how you can get the results that you want with a really good strategy in the next few months. So that's it, guys. Peace.